at times it is quite frustrating when I sit and I see the things that are happening to our people. And I try to find a means to understand why the state party in particular has come to the conclusion that the way you solve a problem, so problematic, so endemic, a problem that is not just political, it is something that deals with the survival of everybody, including their own survival, is not to settle for peace, sit on the negotiating table face to face and find a solution. But it is to hoodwink the international community, come into the midst of the non-state actor groups, then SACs, divide them, and then turn them against one another, hoping that they will wear them out, and when they become weighed out, they will give up the struggle. You see, Pa Philip Tete have died. Pa Kang Zakaria and Diffet have died. Julius Ngundi have died. Konse Emmanuel Ndifo have died. Tane Daniel have died. Yimbum Patrick have died. Chenomu Martin Che have died. Ngek Simon Kui and Yaya Grace Kui have died. Fai Lawrence Yaounde have died and even buried in Soa. Why am I calling these names? Bate Bisom, which most of you know, he taught some of you, have died. It is a very long list of people who died before 2016. And they died for nothing else but this struggle. And despite their death, despite the pain in the hearts of their loved ones, their families, their kids, their grandkids, their wives, the struggle never fizzled out. It never died. It never died. And these men and women that I have called, they did not die under natural circumstances. Their deaths were horrible. As I speak to you now, Lukong Hassan Jumbam Andrew is suffering from diabetes, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other complications. Edwin Jumven, who was just above the teenage age, while rearing cows in Kumbu, when he was kidnapped and taken to Yaoundé. First, they forced him to have sex with ladies from La République du Cameroon. It's mind-boggling. I might say some of these things, some of you people might not get it. You might not understand. You might say, what is he talking about? I am telling you what these people have done. Edwin Jumven was a very young man. He was taken to prison. He could not even express himself in English, not to talk of French. But before he left Kondenge, brought to Bamenda, where at this moment I'm speaking to you, he has been released from prison where he was serving life imprisonment, committed to 25 years. He is now physically blind. They released him because he became blind. He's blind. Edwin Jumven is blind because of this struggle. Yet it did not stop the sons and daughters of Nsolan to give up the cause. It did not. So I am raising these issues because I want to talk about the normalization of impunity. But before I say that, there is something I want to present here to each one of you. I'm reading from the constraints on the waging of war. The constraints on the waging of war. And I'm reading from the section they call collective responsibility. While therefore, the responsibility of armed opposition groups for violations of international humanitarian law follows logically from the fact that they must be regarded as bound by the law. The practical implementation of this accountability today is problematic and poses problems of a different order than those connected with the responsibility of the state. This is principally because the existing legal structures for the implementation of such accountability are those of traditional international law and therefore state-centered. Why did I read this particular paragraph? I have explained time and time again that the only reason why our people took the position of defending themselves with arms is threefold. One, war was declared upon them. Two, when war was declared upon them, they enacted the right to self-defense, which is under international law. Three, if they do not deserve to defend themselves, they will be committing suicide. However, as much as both sides are fighting, there is one thing which is very certain, that even in the course of war, there are rules and regulations. That is why they talk of constraints on the waging of war. Constraints. It doesn't mean because you have a gun, because you have a uniform, because you think you are right in what you are doing, or you consider that you are a state. It means you can do anything in the course of war. No. Most of you will know that mines have been outlawed as an instrument of war. But mines are still being used in certain parts of the world. This is the situation we find ourselves now. I am embittered. At times, I am deeply frustrated. I am frustrated because we have not come to realize that what affects one directly affects all indirectly. When you look at what is happening in our homeland, and you begin to see this idea of, you did it, I did it. And all of this argument, it's on the basis of the suffering of the people. The people that La République du Cameroon continue to pretend that they love them more than us. The people that we, who are fighting, say we are fighting to defend them. At the end of the day, these people become the casualty. They become the ping pong in this war of liberation. Yes, there is no doubt that people must pay sacrifices before they achieve freedom. But it depends on how those sacrifices are being paid. Because if you look at this particular nature of this war, and you see what the state party is doing, I gave a simple example. How could you call yourself trained soldiers, you go into a particular land, kill an individual, and then you desecrate the corpse of that individual in the eyes of the entire world. Kids are watching you. Just look at the treatment they gave to Ayike's corpse. Can any of you tell us what happened to Ivor? They carried Ivor's corpse to Yaoundé. It became something for a parade. What military, what decency, what civilized military will do this? Who is that civilized individual who would treat the corpse, the remains of an individual, no matter what circumstances? In this United States, even if you have killed 1,000 people, you are sentenced to death. And you are put on the gunner, on the electric chair. The moment you are dead, they cannot parade your corpse. If your family is not there to take responsibility, the community, the county, will take care of your remains. You kill an individual. If this is not so hurtful, and the civilian population are watching, it wasn't an uproar, people were not angry. You kill an individual, you tie that individual on a stretcher, you carry that individual in an helicopter to Kumba. If this individual was alive and was sick, there will be no helicopter that will land in Bisali to pick his corpse. To pick him, to take him to any hospital anywhere. That is who we are. That is who we are. And every day we continue to say, oh, they are young men carrying guns, they are fighting to defend themselves, they are doing this. Look at the treatment you give to a corpse. What lesson do you want the civilian population to learn from? There are children as young as 5 years old who are watching what you are doing. You put his corpse on a stretcher. I can't understand. This is insanity at its worst. So what are you trying to train? What training are you giving to the rest of the population? What training? A people who can desecrate the corpse of another people do not deserve our respect, do not deserve our love, do not deserve anything from us. When one is dead, the final word is, let us go and pay our last respect. That is what is normally said. You cannot kill an individual. You guys are not different from the forces of Yomi Johnson, that after killing Samuel Kanyong Do, his corpse was pulled all over the place. No, that is not an act of war. It is an act of bestiality. Only beasts can do these things. Only beasts. Look at what is happening to our land. People are killed in Gambu. 21 other young men are gassed in Bali before being roasted alive. We find this type of atrocities committed in different parts of our land. There was never a memorial service. Our mothers were not there. Those kids as young as 5 years old that were butchered at Gambu, who delivered them? Because even in the land of LGBTQ, I know that 2 homosexual men cannot give birth to a child. A woman must carry that pregnancy and bring forth that child. So where were the mothers? Where were the mothers? Are the children and the people who were butchered and Gambu not good enough? They are not human enough. Okay, maybe Gambu is in the bush, in the forest, which is our nature. This is what we have learned in our relationship with our brothers and sisters from La République du Cameroon. Don't tell me they are not our brothers and sisters, because if you call yourself a Christian, every other human being is your brother, is your sister. But that does not mean you should agree on what they are doing, which is not okay. They went to Bali. 21 young men escaped into the bush. They hid themselves into a farmhouse. They got wind of it, went in there, gassed them, dragged out their suffocated bodies, put petrol on it, and lit fire on it. And they were roasted. Where were the women? The reason I'm saying this is because of what I had just discussed with the UN. It comes down to what happened in Kumba. And this funny game that I continue to see happening around Victoria at Bonadi Combo, my four. It comes down to that. Eh? So, what is going on? The question I want to ask is, they said they went to Kumba, they killed children. The children were studying on Saturday. And they are now saying the military of La République had gone to Kumba, asked children that study only on Monday, don't come to school on Saturday. Even if the children wants to catch up for the time they said they have missed. They should come only on Monday so that they should break the backbone of the ghost towns. And yet they say they love the kids. Now it has become you did it. No, it's not you, it's not you who did it, it's you who did it. The kids are dead. Eh? Now we've had a memorial service. We go back to normal. Memorial service have come and gone. People have prayed. There were even Ambazonians out there who were inviting others to come for memorial service. So after that, what next? What next? Those children are not coming back. None of you was Jesus to resurrect them, to live their life. They are gone. They are gone. Just like those in Gambo, those at Sampit, those in Bali. Those who have been slaughtered and murdered all over our land. They are gone. So what next? You become like the Republican senators in the United States. That even when they slaughter children at the eve of Christmas, these are people who are telling us that they are Christians, evangelical Christians. They slaughter children at the eve of the remembrance of when Christ was born. They come into the Senate floor. These men respect the gun better than these children. They cannot fight for gun safety because they are taking millions, dollar. The dollar becomes more important to protect than to protect the life of other human beings. This is the same thing we are doing in Ambazonia. The same people who come and tell us that they are protecting our people are the ones slaughtering our people. Some of you parents are responsible for killing your own children because you have refused to listen. You have refused to suffer for a little time so that these children can enjoy for the rest of their lives. And when you do this, you show how greedy you are. You don't care whether children elsewhere are going to school. You do not want a comprehensive solution where all these kids can go back to school under a better system, where we are sure that by the time they come out of that system, they become astronauts, and their ability of what they will achieve will be remarkable to the knowledge they have. No, it's greed. Total greed. Those who have money don't care what is happening in Ambazonia. You cross your own kids over to the same La République to study. And when we want to talk, you say, oh, those of you who are abroad. No. That does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. When war was going on in South Sudan, the South Sudanese who came to the United States were still going to school. And they were still supporting the war effort. And that is why today, despite its difficult nature and difficulties, South Sudan is at least an independent state. It's an independent state. So people did not stop, South Sudanese did not stop going to school. They did not. They needed that to prepare to build that state. As much as there is chaos down there. So what did we do? We came out, we put on blacks, we marched, we sat on the floor, our children have died. They came, they asked questions. You said who did it? We do not know. You are right. You do not know. Because in that country where you are and in our own land, there have never been any thorough investigation anywhere. No commission of inquiry has ever come back with anything successful. So you are right. You cannot know unless they want you to accept something that you are right in saying you do not know. Or they were setting you up to say they did it. So that when that demonstration is over, they can knock your doors at night and you all disappeared. This is not how you achieve peace, Yaoundé. You can't achieve peace in this manner. I have spoken on this issue. I have talked on these things from the bottom of my heart. But we have reached a level where human life seems not to be of any use any longer. And the longer it takes the more we normalize impunity, the more it becomes easy for B to arrest an Ambazonian, kill that Ambazonian, and continue to open fire on his lifeless body. That is who we have become. They come into our land, they behead people, put their heads on sticks. There is no outcry. Life goes on. The very moment they are doing that, people are drinking beer somewhere in Kumba. They are even sitting in Kwen. They are drinking with the same soldiers who have carried out this act. That is who we are. We think that, oh, it is those guys, Akwanga, Bo Herbert, Kometa Elvis, Sako Emmanuel, Ayaba Cho, and the rest. They are the ones who are promoting this war. No! We are even better, that we know our position, that we can tell you that it is your right to defend yourself. Those of you who are cowards are like what Dr. King used to call the dangerous moderate, the black moderates, the Christian moderates, who continue to tacitly support racism and segregation in the Deep South. That is what most of you have become. Oh yes, exactly. You no longer want a comprehensive solution. You have created a situation where education now in our homeland becomes something for the elite. At the time children in Victoria are going to school, what about those who find themselves in Mundani? There's no school there. Are those children in Mundani, those in Bonadi Combo, those in Victoria Tico, are they not the same kids? Are they not children born of women? Do they not deserve education? Have you people sat and realized that a comprehensive solution will give equal opportunity to every child all over the territory of Ambazonia? Those Indian, Mbonge Mateke, Ekumbe Mbunji, all of those children, Ako, that they should have equal opportunity. It should not be those in Kumba Town, Victoria, Tico, Boya. No! We cannot create this type of system. It is not going to work. It will not. So when I come out, I said, we are not opposing the education of our children. We are saying that this is one of the reasons why today we are at war defending ourselves. If we truly want these children to go back to school tomorrow, let both sides sit on the table and use this as priority number one to discuss on how could these children go to school, one, under a securely safe environment. Two, under an accepted educational system. Three, to study under well-arranged structures, not under trees. Or roofs with holes, with rain pouring in or scorching heat, meeting them in class. We have treated our kids like pigs and goats for a very long time. That is the way we treated them. We have never shown any respect for them. We have not. So, what is all this? Look at what happened. The restoration forces, we have never taken full control of Victoria. That is true. Victoria is full with citizens of La République du Cameroon. But they thought that they have achieved something in Kumba. They thought that the idea of attacking schools is a good thing because it is causing an uproar within our people and within the international community. So what did they do? They will go to Bonadi Combo. They enter one classroom. One. Let's forget that we have discovered that there were B persons there and former fighters who have betrayed their conscience and their people, who came there to do that. But when they entered that classroom, what did they do? They sat and said, listen, we should not only send these children away from school, we should not kill them. So what should we do? Let us do something that is closer to killing them. They undress these kids naked these children will be traumatized for the rest of their life. This, I can bet you that. The moment you go through this, you are going to be traumatized, even at your old age. Because every time you think of that particular moment, you will feel as if your heart is going to cut into two. That is what they have left to these kids. They will never come out of what they did to them. Why? They did that because they want to say because we said that there should be no school, which is a weapon which we have in this particular necessary war. So they are looking for, what can we do to turn the people against their own people? It is not going to work. The Bafun people say Zikafa. That will not work. You cannot achieve peace by creating all these little tricks. It's not going to work. I have spoken before about the necessity to respect international humanitarian law. I have said that whether you belong to Sokadef or which group, whatever you do in the field, if you do something that abrogates international humanitarian law or the law of warring, I can bet you the time will come when you will answer for it. Period. That is going to happen. Impunity will not be tolerated. But Yaoundé should understand one thing. As much as you are fighting yourself, you are thinking that if you have to make peace with the Ambazonians, it means you will be reducing yourself, you will be ridiculing yourself. No, you will not be doing that. You will not be doing that. You will be showing the highest respect of the human race. Those who settle for peace are not weaklings. They are mostly the strongest, the most committed and the most devoted. Because why? It is easy to fight a war, just as it is easy to start one. But it is very difficult to settle for peace. It is better. We have suffered enough. We have suffered enough. But the question we should ask ourselves is, are we looking for normalcy? Is that what we are looking for? People are telling me they have suffered enough. Our people have suffered. Oh yes, they have suffered. I know that. Our people have suffered. And they continue to suffer. But if all of us have truly focused our energy, we would have long ago cut down this suffering. We would have done that. Oh yes, we would have done that. There are some of us who have never called for an armed struggle. They have never donated for an armed struggle. But the words that have come out from their mouth and their individual actions have killed more of our people than the bullet. This is reality. You don't need a gun to kill people. You don't need to call for an armed struggle for self-defense. Your actions are enough to kill our people. Those who were broadcasting using the radio of the 7 Hills in Rwanda, they never had guns. But they killed more Rwandans. In fact, La Radio said, Colin, if you have to break it down mathematically, would have killed, would have slaughtered at least 500,000 of the more than 800,000 Rwandans who were killed in that genocide. They never carried a gun. But they were the fuel enough hatred. They built in so much hate and venom. So those of you who go to Equinox and other networks and you increase the level of hatred, you are responsible for ethnocide and genocide. You don't need to agree because it's Dr. Akwanga saying it, but that is reality. Those of you who think that there is a shortcut to freedom, and when it doesn't work, you back out, rather than to correct the errors, you are responsible for ethnocide and genocide. I want these kids to go to school. I want everyone in our homeland, every one of our national, to pick up the mantle of their lives. But that does not mean I want normalcy. It does not mean I want us to go back to something similar to what brought us to where we are today. In a nutshell, when even an earthquake destroyed property, when that property, new ones have to be constructed, they make sure they are more solid and more sophisticated. There is no single Ambazonian, no true Ambazonian who will ever settle to go back to that system as it is where we were in it. And that system will not tell us which other system will be good for us. We must be the authors of our own destiny. We have said we are ready to sit and talk about that. But we are equally saying that no one is going to impose a structure or a system to us. It will not happen. I can die today. Anything can happen to me. But rest assured that it will never happen. You might be dealing with a mild Akwanga, an Akwanga who is just angry. The Akwanga you might deal with in the next 10 to 20 years will be one that will be constantly bitter. And when bitterness comes, there will be no possibility to choose between who did it and who did not do it. Everybody becomes part of the problem. Those of you who have an opportunity to resolve this issue, this is the only moment you have. You will not have another one. We will not live here forever. We don't even know how tomorrow looks like. This is not seeking power in Yaoundé, which could easily be quenched. This is about the very survival of individuals. The way I see it, some other Ambazonians see it differently. So even if I come to you and you give me a package of money and I take it, you have just taken one out of millions out of that equation. The rest will continue fighting. They will continue. So the better thing you can do, the best you can do for both peoples, is to keep your pride aside and let us sit and talk. Because I am sure we can talk and solve this problem. We can make sure that this Christmas, hopes will come back to the millions of our kids. Those in refugee camps, those sleeping under trees in bushes. They will have hope that they can pick up their lives and become something responsible tomorrow in rebuilding that society for us. For if we allow this moment to pass, we don't know what is coming. It is easy to fight a war with a purpose, but don't push anyone to fight a war under frustration, because a frustrated warrior is extremely dangerous. A frustrated warrior is extremely dangerous. When that warrior becomes frustrated and doesn't see a glimmer of light even at the end of the tunnel, they can do anything. On both sides, the fatigue of war will not affect our people. It will affect everybody involved in this war. So, nobody should tell us that they love our kids more than us. Nobody. There are Ambazonians here who have children down there. They have spoken to me. Their own kids do not go to school because they can't send them to La République du Cameroon to study. I feel for each one of them. I feel for them from the bottom of my heart. I feel for these kids whose future are being mortgaged. But their future have been mortgaged already. And we cannot let it be mortgaged for nothing. We must create an avenue that for those who have lost their education, they could still live and survive in a society which will be responsible to them as their own. This is very essential if we as a people have to succeed. All of these ideas of carrying former fighters, bringing them to our land to talk to our people, is not how you make peace. It's a charade. It's a waste of time. If you want to make peace, talk to those who matter. No one goes to a peace settlement process with pride. For pride is the prelude to a big fall. You must go to the negotiating table with an open heart. Come there ready to present your case. As strong as possible, argue it out. And let the other side argue out their own case. At the end of the day, we will both reach a comprehensive negotiated settlement. This I can assure you. I say it from the bottom of my heart. Come to the table. Stop playing all these games, this hide and seek. You can bring all these young men to come talk to our people. It won't change anything. It won't change anything. You can kill as many as you want. The more you tie them on stretchers, the more you parade with their corpses, the more you create more Ambazonia fighters for us. That is what is going to happen. And one last thing. I want to thank our moms, our wives, our sisters for coming out. This, I say it from the bottom of my heart. I thank them for the difficulties they have gone through, the hardship they're suffering. They have seen so much and they continue to see so much. We knew that God made man before creating a woman. But the fortitude of a woman at this particular moment in our history shows that it is more stronger than that of a man. I thank each one of you. I thank each one of you for who you are, but most specifically for being our moms. And I can assure you that we will never want to do anything directly or indirectly to hurt any of you. We will not get involved into anything that will make you weep and cry. That is why we sing every day, sweet mother, we will never forget you. We love each one of you for the suffering, for the hardship, for the pains you are going through. You are being raped. You are being molested. You are being maltreated. You have suffered so much. I am only wishing that we can create a society where we could recognize your strength, your hardship, the persecutions each one of you have gone through. A society where you, our moms, our daughters, could truly become our leaders of that society. We need you people to stand with us, to help us to continue to do what is right. We need each one of you to speak to us without any fear. Just respect. We need you to pour your heart to us. Mama, to each one of you. But we equally beg you to understand where we are coming from. And that we will never do anything to hurt any of you. I say this from the bottom of my heart. We will never do that. We all love you. We all. Even as we argue amongst ourselves. Even as some of us fight over crumbs. We will always love each one of you. You are the cornerstone of our hearts. Without each one of you, we will not be here. I can recall how much my own mom suffered. I have lost 11 people from my family. I've never been there when they have been buried. I know how much my aunt suffered, my mother, my cousins. I have seen their suffering. I've seen their fortitude. You carried us on your back when you are trekking more than 8 miles to go to the farm, to till the soil and plant. You come back, you cook for us. You go to the market, you sell, you put your money together. You send some of us to St. Joseph's College, Sase. Because you want the best for us. Mother, sweet moms of Ambazonia, you have suffered enough. We are your kids. We are just trying to make life more better for you. We want you to live in a society which will be good for you. We love each one of you. We know very well that when times are hard, our dads will always tell you, look at what your son is doing. Look at what your daughter is doing. But when there are good times, the dads will take ownership of that son or daughter. Yes, Mama, we know each one of you. We know how much you have suffered and continue to suffer. And there is nothing that we will be able to do that will ever pay you except our love and respect. We are just trying to make things better, not just for us, for each one of you, Mama. For the 9 months that some of you suffered in carrying us. That even to give birth to us, they have to trek miles or carry you in trucks because there is just no way to reach the hospital. That even to give birth to us, you have to suffer. You gave out so much blood. They have to rush to the neighboring village to look for somebody to bring out blood to donate to you. Mama, we know you are suffering. We will never hurt you. We will never hurt you. Only a child who have lost his or her ways doesn't understand your importance, Mama. That is why we call you all Mama Ambazonia. We call you the mothers of the Southern Cameroons. The mothers of Africa. You are special to us. You might beat us. You might shout at us. You might even get angry. But the moment we are hiding beside the house, you will think that my son or my daughter have not eaten. You will come back and you will beg us. Come home, please. Come. I am sorry. Though we were wrong, you are telling us you are sorry. You will give us food to eat. You give us water to bathe. And you tell us, go and sleep. The next day, it is still you, Mama. You are removing money from your loin to give to us to go and eat in school. What have you not done to us? You made us who we are, strong men. You made us who we are, courageous women. You created us. You taught us never to give up to anything which would demean us. You gave us courage because of the courage you went through in giving birth to us. That even when it is the time you have to go and give birth, even through your labor, Mama, you are still going to the stream to fetch water. While the pot is on the fire, you are coming back to pound fufu for us. How many other moms can be like you? How could anyone think that we want to hurt you? Or hurt the children that comes out from your womb who are us? How could we do that? How could we? We'll always love you. If there is anything we have done, mothers, forgive us. Pray for us. Pray that this might come to an end and very fast, so that we will be sure that we can make sure you live in a society where you will not be raped, molested, thingified, depersonalized, and dehumanized. You will always remain our moms. We thank you for everything. And for every child that is closer to you, let them play you sweet mother, so that you remember that we will never forget you. Thank you very much. We will talk again very soon. But as I am about to leave you, I want to assure each one of you that we are at a very critical state in this struggle. I do not use that word critical lightly. We are at a very critical state. And when I come here next time, I'll be talking about the state of the struggle. It will be for each one of you to listen and do what is right. Or don't listen, and you let the roof tumble on each one of us, including you. We must stay focused. We must do much of our talking through acting. And we must do this out of Facebook, out of WhatsApp. We must learn to reach out. Don't reach out to complain. Reach out to bring good ideas. Because this is a collective duty. You discover that those who gave up the struggle were complaining as if this struggle is owned by somebody. As if they were employed, they were employees of somebody. Because the masters failed to pay them their salary. They abandoned the job and went to work for somebody else. No, that is not the attitude of a freedom fighter. This is your war. This is your fight for freedom. Own it. If Akwanga is faltering, you don't falter. Keep going. But make sure you stay focused. Do not listen to everything that comes your way. Because I can assure you, there are more lies than truth in what is being spewed out there by some of our people. That is the reality. Some are directly working for the other side. Others are indirectly working for the other side. Others actually, who are indirectly working for the other side, wants to do the right thing, but they are doing it the wrong way. They even use this platform to expose secrets of the struggle. No. Question every action and every word. But don't drop bitterness into it. If you think there is something that is worrying, reach out to that individual. Because a little knowledge and understanding will help. Because if you do not do this, you will only prolong the suffering of our moms, our little ones. And I am sure that is not what and why any one of us is actually fighting this war of liberation. We all want something better for ourselves and for them. So we should try to do something better. You each have a role to play. Your role could be positive, your role could be negative. But the decision on the role you want to play is directly yours. It's not mine. It's not that of any leader. It is yours. You decide which part of history you want to belong. You decide. It's like a coin with two faces. Where you want to belong depends on you. But history will judge each one of us. But let it not judge you negatively. That you were responsible for the suffering of our moms, our kids, our little ones, and our dads. That you were responsible for the desecration of our homeland. Then even your generation will live to regret. May God bless you. And may our forefathers continue to look kindly upon us.